Welcome back to the Midlife Muscle Podcast. I'm your host, actually co-host. My other co-host is over here playing in the corner, Joey Atlas. And we're here with the next episode with Russell Flint. Russell, thank you for making it.
Yeah.
We got Russell's companion, good companion, Rosalind. Rosalind, what's the last name? Decker, that's right. She might be a future guest. We're going to find out later if she gets nominated or not. And here we go. So to give you context, before Russell tells us who he is, here's how we met. So most of you know I moved out to the beach. I've been doing my walks and runs along Beach Avenue, the walks with Yanko, meeting all kinds of people. And one day I see this really fit middle-aged guy. I'm like, man, that guy's got an awesome physique, right? And so we crossed paths a few times, a couple of hellos. And then I forget the first time we started talking, but we started talking. Also didn't recognize you until after the fact, Rosalind. But I asked you guys one evening, I think, if you'd be interested in being on the podcast. And I thought you'd make it. Yanko, hey, all right, here we go. Time out. Shh. Yanko, come. Shh. All right, just push him down if he gets crazy. And you guys were both up for it. You also did mention you're thinking of doing your own podcast, which I want to talk about and try to encourage you guys live while we're recording. I want to hear more about that. And you guys were into coming on, and I knew you guys would each have an awesome story that, number one, needs to be shared, and number two, would inspire people who get to see it and listen to keep going if they're already going, or get started for the first time, because as we know, that 80-90% of the population still hasn't started yet.
Yeah.
Right. And so if we can be that trigger that gives them a place to start from, then that's what this is for.
Yeah.
Right?
I love it.
So thank you. All right. So I'm going to hand you the quick mic. Russell, what is the 3 to 5 sentence summary of who's this guy sitting in the chair?
Well, I'm an English professor. That's the first thing, but also fitness related. I'm a CrossFit coach, and then a USA weightlifting coach.
Okay.
And so that's my main work. And then Roz and I are just starting a relationship, wellness, sex, nutrition, like you said, podcast, blog,
Love it.
And then coaching.
Love it. All right. Yeah, this is good. So what's the age?
I'm 56.
56, right in the midlife muscle zone.
Exactly.
Love it. All right. So 56, English professor, weightlifting coach, CrossFit coach, and a guy who walks the talk. So we're going to get into the story from the start, and bits and pieces of this are going to be usable by you, whether you're male or female, in your 20s or in your 70s or somewhere in between, to help keep you going or get you started. So, Russell, let's dial it back to your childhood. Where were you born and raised?
I was actually born here in Jacksonville.
Right.
And then he's fine. And then I moved to Japan, so I lived there. I lived in Mississippi. And then before coming back here, probably, 25 years ago, coming back to Jacksonville.
What brought you back to Jax?
I went to college out in Mississippi, and then I came back to Jacksonville to finish college. And then, like I said, I was from here. All my family's from here.
Right.
And so just ended up coming and, started. I was I taught at a high school, and I was a coach at the high school in football and golf for about 10 years. And then I moved up to the college level. And so I've just been doing that.
Nice. So now mostly teaching at college level English.
Yeah.
And are you doing any of the fitness related stuff at the
college?
I'm
still a CrossFit coach at CrossFit Total Control down in Jax Beach. And,
anything at the college?
No.
Fitness or sport related?
Not anymore, yeah.
What college is it?
FSCJ.
Nice. Yeah. All right. So what was your personal entryway into like the fitness realm from childhood or the teen years?
I always did sports. We were playing since we were a kid, and then I did the big three, football, baseball, basketball.
Okay.
And then after college, I started moving. I played semi-pro football for a season, but then I moved into the sports you can do the rest of your life, you know, football, or sorry, surfing and some skating and tennis and paddleboarding, and things like that. So, and then I got into, I trained with some MMA guys for a little while, and then I met some CrossFit people. And so I'm moving CrossFit really like that, started doing that.
How long ago was that?
I did CrossFit about 10 years ago. I did that. And I did that for a while. And then it's only recently, Rosalind and I started moving in more towards a functional fitness.
Nice.
And so it's just, if we're not competing at CrossFit, we had talked about what's more sustainable long term. And so moved more into that functional fitness.
Absolutely. This is one of my biggest points I drive home with. And anything I do online, or if I'm working, coaching clients locally or remotely, it's having them have a paradigm shift toward functional training. And you can still look awesome, as we know, if you know how to piece together a program that focuses on safety, functionality, longevity. You can still have the muscle development. You can have the low body composition, the low body fat. You don't have to go beast mode. You don't have to always be nursing your shoulders, your knees, and your back. Your fitness is supposed to help you. It's not supposed to be grinding you to a pulp. Right. So this is awesome to hear. Take notes, people. Listen to this. This is from a person who's been through it, is on the journey. And when did you guys start making that transition?
About a year ago, just under a year ago, because I was getting, I was competing at a high level, and then I was getting injured.
What types of injuries?
And so I had a shoulder surgery. So that put me out a while. And then, it would just be, because I was trying to go heavy and go 5 days a week. The volume was a lot. And so I was just finding, then when you try to transfer the other, can we go paddleboard or surf today? And you're like, I don't feel like it, or it's not. So it just wasn't conducive. I didn't find for long-term health. We still work out hard, 3 days a week. And
it's different. It's a different style.
It's different. Yeah. Right. And so I didn't want to do only gym workout, where I wasn't cardio fit and it wouldn't translate to other things. Still wanted some gymnastic skills and, jump rope skills, things like that.
Body weight training.
So body weight, so it's really, we've moved to a mix about a year ago and been really happy.
Love it. That. So where do you guys do that?
We'll stick with that. We do that at Total Control where I coach.
So you still train there, but you've changed the style of training.
Yeah.
Dramatically. It's a big change.
So we'll kind of work out on our own outside, whatever, and then I'll coach the other, just straight level CrossFit.
Yeah.
And so.
All right. So how long have you been training in the new style?
I'd say a little under a year.
Okay.
Around a year.
All right. Now, in my eyes, you both look awesome. Yeah. But for you, how do you feel you've done in that year? What's changed?
So if it's, because in the other style, I would use some Olympic lifting. That strength has gone down a little bit. But as far as body composition, that really, quads, some of those have actually improved. And then some of the ab stuff, what I didn't realize, some of the core is that, we're training so hard that you're not giving recovery time.
Right.
So now we do 3 days a week, total body splits, and Mondays are more metabolic condition with no or lightweight, body weight. Thursday will be our zone 2, like a long, slow ruck or something like that. Right. A lot of times we'll see you out. And then Saturday, mix in some skills and some lifting, but lighter weight. Right. But as I said, we've been the just not being beat up as much, and the recovery has been a huge aspect.
Oh, it's life changing because it allows you now to live life like go paddleboarding. That's right. Play tennis, golf, whatever.
That's right.
You name it. Everybody's got their hobbies. Yeah. If you can't do that stuff, you're not living your life.
Yeah, yeah. And it's good to put stress on the body, but as you're getting to my age and older, you want to minimize that stress.
Has to be smarter. It just has to be smarter.
So I guess if you'd asked me a year ago, I would have said, no, that's, don't do that. because I was more into the heavy lifting.
Right.
And then, as I start to realize, what is this doing to me and what do I want? I don't want to be competing in my 60s and all that. I want to be living life. And, when the kids or when anybody says, hey, you guys want to go, pickleball or paddleboard or whatever, you're like, oh, I'm down for that.
Right. Absolutely. This is great. This is really helpful. And I'm going to drive this home because so many people who haven't started, or they may have tried something in the past and they chose something very inappropriate for their makeup, their abilities. All right. It's only because they don't know how to pick something or how to look for something. Right. So they had a bad experience. They wrenched their back. They, whacked their knee out or shoulder. But a lot of these people still think, oh, in order for my body to change, I heard you really have to like push it hard. Like you got to force it. Right. And we know that's not true. And so again, this type of messaging and this conversation, the right people hearing this are going to be like, okay, like this makes sense now. They all look great. They're telling me that story that I've never heard before. That's proof to me. Yeah. Like now we got to just go find some of the materials to follow through on.
Yeah. I love that as a CrossFit coach. I've seen people come in like, I'm interested in trying this, and they just get crushed. Right. And I'm like, gotta, let's take it easy and establish the habit and a baseline.
Right.
And then you have that. And then, we can go up or down in how hard we want to go.
Yeah. Progression can happen in many different ways. There are many avenues to progress.
That's right.
And it's a matter of like guiding somebody verbally and mentally first so that they understand that there are many different ways to get to where you want to go.
That's right.
The safest path is going to be the best.
Yeah.
Right. A lot of people just don't know how to discern, well, what is safe and what's actually really effective.
That's right.
Right. Good stuff. All right. So you just went over your current training schedule. It's good. How are the joints feeling? Like,
good.
Over the last year?
Yeah. I would say, a lot better. We still, we emphasize one of the things we've been able to do. She's a certified yoga instructor.
Nice.
But we weren't able to do yoga as much because we just didn't feel like it.
Right.
So now on our Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sundays, we can emphasize, whether it's a more stretching, type of yoga, you can tell me what it is, or a more intense, at least we're able to do that.
We're able to do it.
And so be able to focus on mobility.
Right.
Because what we don't want to see is someone work out and then they don't.
No,
Mobility
is just as important as the strength or the aesthetic part of the equation.
Yeah.
If you can't move it properly and it's not, if you don't have that injury prevention aspect, like your injuries are going to set you back.
Yeah.
Right. The mobility is key, especially as we approach our 50s and beyond.
That's right.
Mobility is just another important part of the equation.
And that's the same, I think it applies to everyone, because to one who's beginning the journey, okay, they can do it this way. But also ones who've been around, like, I don't want to do something that's too easy or too that. You can go as hard as you can if you're smart with that.
Yeah.
So.
Yes, very true. Okay, so let's go to your nutrition framework. How would you describe your nutritional framework?
People say you eat healthy, but I really try to eat real food, not tons of processed foods. I have a macros based approach, but I don't weigh and measure. I pretty much know.
Yeah, it's more intuitive now.
That's right. We were just talking about intuition and feeling, how I try to get enough protein because that's important. But then as I'm feeling like, I try not to be, we try not to be restrictive.
Right.
Because that mindset sets off, I really need it and want it.
Yes.
And so if we're feeling like we need some carbs or we're going to have a dessert or whatever, then we do that.
Right.
And then, but, I focus more, instead of weighing and measuring, I can almost tell like on a plate.
Yep.
Where I have my vegetables, I have my protein,
right.
I have my carbs and a little bit fats. And so that's my general approach.
Okay. So with that in mind, give me like a day in the life.
Yeah.
For example, here's how morning starts, right? Food and drink through the whole day.
I usually wake up before 6, and so I have a little breathing and stretching routine, just a quick one, just to get moving out of bed, get some water in. I don't eat till around 7. But 7, I'll have a meal that generally emphasizes protein. Mm-hmm. So some eggs, so egg whites and some spinach, something
mm-hmm.
like that.
You ever have any yolks?
And then a lot of times, yeah.
Okay.
And then a lot of times like bread with it with some fats.
What type of bread will you choose?
Either sourdough or like a Ezekiel bread.
Nice.
So that's probably the only 2 that go to.
Yep.
But then, we'll do some work, and then we'll eat before we work out. That's usually, depending on the timing, it could just be a snack, but it's usually more carb based.
Right. Fuel the training.
Fuel the training is what we'll do, and try to get some carbs in it, hour or so before.
What type of carbs would you typically go with?
Fruit. Sometimes we eat fruit with a fat to kind of extend that out. Yeah. But a lot of times it's fruit. Sometimes
banana, melon.
Yeah. Banana, apple. It's a little bit longer. Banana depends for me. Like a banana burns really quickly, and so I do that right before.
Okay.
Apple or something like that. Especially if I add some nuts in, it kind of strengthens it out. I can feel it almost right away. I'm like ready to go. With rosin, it takes her a little bit longer to process that. But fuel that. And then, of course, after the training, that's where I have a pretty big meal that, I'll get a lot of proteins there, a lot of my fats, a lot of carbs.
What would a sample meal look like after training?
Well, it depends. Some days I'll do it's almost like a dessert. It's a yogurt with some protein in there, which kind of makes it chocolate. And then I'll put some
like a
nuts
powder
or fats. Yeah. Sometimes I'll go without that, but I'll do that, and it makes it. I mean, it's really, really tasty.
I get it. Trust
Sometimes
me.
I'm like, how can I be eating this? And then I'll put some, nuts, just to add those fats throughout, and then usually a carb in terms of fruit or some oats.
Okay.
And then kind of just mix all that.
It's like
up.
A dessert. I get it.
It's really good, and I try not to do that every day, even though I would love to.
Right.
But if not, it's usually a big salad with, again, some nuts, and our dressing that she makes is really good. Is mustard with yogurt, and you could put some other things in, but mix that so you get some protein in that dressing, and then a fish or a chicken on the salad, and you have that, and it's a lot, and it'll really fill you up. Right. So we try to mix that up. Some days I'm like, okay, I really want my
I hear you. You're in the mood.
The mood, yeah. And sometimes let's have a fish and salad or something like that.
Okay, so it's post training. That's not dinner though.
No.
Okay.
And then depending on how late it gets, sometimes I will have a snack pre-dinner, but most of the time where training hits, we're working and doing other things, and then we'll eat dinner. Dinner for me is again usually a same thing. I love salads, so I'll have a salad with chicken or something, whatever I didn't have for lunch, or just I try to mix up the vegetables. I think, what vegetables haven't I had in a while, and try to get what's in season or mix those up. And depending on how I feel and timing, sometimes I have a snack before bed.
What would that be?
Usually either like I can have just a protein mix powder, like mixed up,
like a pudding kind of
shake. I make a pudding out of that, or just some fruit. Even depends if I just really feel like the carbs to be more intuitive.
Oh yeah.
So have some fruit in that. One thing I left out, like usually during the day, right after either that workout meal or a little bit as we're working, when we start to get tired, I like dark chocolate, so I'll have some dark chocolate. Sometimes a decaf espresso. Okay. For me, because I don't want to interrupt my sleep. Yeah. And that just kind of allows I can work a little more. It sets me off until.
All right. So no caffeine for you.
I do caffeine. I do coffee first thing in the morning, like a French press. Like just.
Okay. So you guys are coffee drinkers, or just you?
Yeah, we're both.
Yeah, me too.
She'll sometimes have that caffeine at the second meal, but I like after about 12. I'll find it affects my sleep, and so I'll wait on.
So you'll have a good coffee or espresso in the morning.
Yeah, in the morning with my with my.
All right. What do you add to it?
And all that? No, I just like
straight up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Into any teas?
we will do like that with that dark chocolate kind of mid. It's become like it as far as sometimes your body, like I really want a, a cake or a snack or ice cream. But when I have that, it's like, oh, now I've
You're
had
good.
a treat. I'm good.
Right.
And then by the time I have dinner, I'm like, you know what? I'm really full. If I think about it, sometimes I'm either bored at night if I really want it. So once I go for a walk, like when we'll see you, and then I'll come back and go, you know what? I don't want that. But if my body's telling me I need it, then I'll have it still. But we'll either do a green tea or espresso at that time.
Nice.
So, and green, I do some like a green tea kind of supplement for prostate health, and the green tea is good for that.
Right.
So for me, it's decaf. She'll do the live. But,
awesome. All right. So on that note, the supplements, without naming any brands, do you take any supplements?
No, the only I take up stuff for my prostate health, and it's just like whole, what do you call it?
Adaptogens.
Yeah,
adaptogens. Okay.
Mixture of green tea supplement.
Yeah, and but other than that, I don't take any. I used to take creatine. I don't feel that I need that now with the workload that I'm doing. She takes it, and I am happy with that and recommend that. I will do, because it's hard to get protein in a lot of times.
Right.
So I will do a whey protein powder. I try to find a clean one.
Okay.
That and I can generally tell the difference in the way it makes me feel.
Right. No multivitamin, mineral.
No, I haven't really needed that. I try to do blood work, at least annually, and sometimes you go 6 months. And every now and then, even once they say, "Oh, you're low on vitamin D," and so I would up that. But most of the time, I found I don't need it. I can do it with the diet.
Okay.
So and unless the blood work shows me that I need that, and then I'll add that in.
Okay.
But no, I don't really take anything else.
Nice. So speaking of blood work, do you aim to do it at least every year, sometimes more often? Yeah,
I try to do, I have some, I want to know where I am with, with all my,
absolutely,
with all of that. I have some history of heart failure. And so that,
family history?
At my age, so I'm trying to track that. And so if there's anything with the lipids or whatever, then I'll try to zero that down and work with the fats or whatever. But
when was the last time you got all your labs?
So it's about time now. I know we did it, 8-9 months ago.
Right.
But it would be about time.
Yeah.
So
that's, I love doing mine. I'm doing mine next month. I do them every year, everything like in depth. I actually share them on my podcast. Like I do another podcast. It's more like a solo podcast or a long distance interview podcast.
Yeah.
I share all my numbers. Like I even share the PDF printouts.
That's really
so that people can see my most recent and the previous 3 or 4 years, all there side by side. Not because I'm bragging, but I want them to see because some people have never even done them, or they haven't done them in 15 years. Like these are the things I test for. This is what I recommend to my coaching clients. Yeah. This is the most important part of what we're doing. Like if you don't know what's going on the inside, we have no diagnostics.
Exactly.
Like, and if we're paying attention to those numbers and living a lifestyle to make all those numbers better, then your outside of the body is going to show the results you want by taking care of the inside. Yeah. Right. So, we go beyond the basics. We also do DEXA scan, bone density, what is it? The apolipo-Bs, AC1, inflammatory markers. I want to see everything. I don't want to not see them. And some people don't do it because they don't want to see their internal numbers. Like, hello, like that's not intelligent. Yeah. Like let's get them. That's right. Because the only way you're going to know if you're good is by seeing them. And the only way you're going to know that you've been living the right lifestyle is seeing those numbers either improve or continue to stay in a good zone as the years progress. Yeah. Right.
And every now and then it fluctuates. I don't know, because I'm outside a lot.
Mine too.
The way I eat, I was like, well, how can my vitamin D go down? And so I did that for about 6 months, and I went back and I had gotten off of it, and then my numbers were fine. Mm-hmm. And so I'm like, okay, so then I got off of that.
And the D.
Yeah, off of the D. Right. But other than that, so then last time I really haven't been taking anything. And then when I went back, all the numbers were good. Right. At my age, my history, you have to watch some of the cholesterol and all of that. So,
did you ever have your calcium score taken?
it's on there, but it's more of just a, theirs, and I would be open to different styles. Theirs is a red light, red, yellow, green,
Right.
everything's good, numbers. So it's a little bit more general. And I know
Right.
they have ones that are much more in depth than that. So I'd be open to that as well.
Nice. So I would encourage you guys, like, if you're open to it, share that on your social media that you're doing,
That's
the
a really good
podcast
one.
that you're doing, the blog, like that encourages other people to see how like normal of a thing this is for us to want to do, and how helpful it is to know where are we at on the inside and how are we looking every year.
That's exactly right. We just had a huge one with iron, and with her son who trains a lot with cross country. And, once he starts supplementing with iron, you see a huge difference in the way you feel and the numbers and all that. And you don't know that until you get your blood work.
Yes.
And see.
Very true. This thing about him as an example, depending on the type and amount of physical output you're putting out there, that's going to determine how much nutrition or specific nutrients you might need or might need to add, depending on your own personal makeup and your output.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't realize that. And again, how old is he? 17? Yeah. I mean, so we're talking like teenage years.
Yeah.
Not even into 30s, 40s, or 50s yet.
Yeah.
But again, a major growth period.
So, oh yeah.
The body's under a lot of stress.
Absolutely. Yeah. Lots of requirements.
Yeah. Good
stuff. All right. So we have an idea, but I want this in your words. We already know about the injuries. Those sounded like kind of setbacks that changed your path and the way going forward.
Sure.
What motivates you to stay on track with all this for life?
Yeah. I know how it makes me feel when I work. So it's, mental health, just establishing these habits. It's just become who I am. Right. And I know if I'm not getting, even if I'm just working out and not getting the walks or the mobility, I can really feel that.
Yes.
And so you make a decision. Do I want to feel like, or do I want to feel healthy? And so, I think that's a lot. A huge part of it that keeps me on there. I don't drink anymore. I don't eat out tons just because it doesn't make me feel great. And I know you can eat out, and there's ways to eat out. Sometimes we will. And then, there's selections that you can make. But, and so I guess that's just it. Like, I want to feel good. I don't want to feel beat up, and I want to be healthy moving forward. So that's what keeps me doing
it's
it.
Simply stated, but it's really the truth there, because that's what you have to live with.
Yeah.
Like, anything you do in life, you're taking this health, strength, mental clarity with you into everything you do. Your work, your family, your relationships, your hobbies. Yeah. It touches everything. And then it's peace of mind.
That's right.
Like, I'm healthy. I'm putting in the work. I'm getting the outcomes. Yeah. I'm at peace. Like, I'm not wondering, oh man, what should I be doing? Maybe I should start next week.
Yeah.
I know I've been bad. Maybe it's not even worth it. Maybe this is it. Maybe I'm going downhill from here.
Yeah.
Right. But it's peace of mind knowing I'm doing as best as I can, and most of the things are working properly, if not everything.
And that's, I want to have a long life together. I want I have 3 boys, and they're starting to have kids now, and I want to be around
How old are
them. I've got one that's 32, one that's 28, and one that's 17.
All right. So you want to be around for them.
Yeah.
You want to be around for the grandkids.
That's right.
So you start.
I got a grandkid. One grandkid. He's a year
Congrats.
old, and they're pregnant again.
Wow.
So another one on the way. That's
all right. So another 50-something-year-old grandpa. I just became a grandfather about 3 weeks ago. My older daughter. Yeah, thank you. And my son-in-law. They had their first, which is my first grandson.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So
I'm Pops. I don't know what you are.
G-Pops.
Got Pops and G-Pops.
Yes, there we go. I love it. This is good. All right, so this is good. Like, you said it. I didn't have to plant it.
Yeah.
It's one of the main reasons we do what we do. Like,
that's right.
We want to be around for those grandkids to be able to go whatever, paddle boarding, take them surfing, throw the ball, take them hiking, whatever. Yeah. Like, if we don't have our mobility, functionality, strength, balance, mental acuity, we're not doing that stuff.
That's right.
Let alone be alive to do it. Like,
Yeah.
We got to have the abilities.
Yeah. I love to be the one where they're, they live in Atlanta and they come down, they want to go to the beach and surf, and you're, oh, I'm the one taking them.
We can do it.
Like, oh, they just love that.
Right.
And so.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah.
Right.
So that's a big motivator to stay on track. So we share this with you as you're watching. Speaking of watching, if you're listening to this on one of the audio players like Apple Podcasts, make sure you come check out the video version. These are visually shot podcast interview style. Just go to midlifemusclepodcast.com or just go to YouTube and search Midlife Muscle Podcast so you can see these interviews and get the full effect instead of just listening to them. All right, this is turning out to be way better than I thought. These always do. All right, so the next question is, what goals do you have going forward from here? Which it sounds like you just laid out the goal.
Yeah.
It's like to live a great life in all regards for everybody around you.
It's really the same, just what we said.
Yeah.
I want to be healthy. I want to be around. I want to feel good,
Right.
moving through that for our life, for my kids, for just the entire family,
Right.
as well as my mental health and
Oh, yes.
well-being. So, yeah, that's
Good stuff. All right. Let me see if there's anything else. Okay. So see, like I told you, I'm going to send you the outline, but there are things that are going to come up that I'm going to want to talk about. The first thing is, how did you guys meet? Uh-oh, he's looking for the answer.
Yeah, I lived. There's where I lived down the street. A friend is she's in the Navy, and we would see same thing walking around. You're talking about community.
You would see the friend, or
I would
you
see
would
the
see
friend.
Rosalind?
I would see the friend, and so she was. We start talking. She was like quite a bit younger, and she starts going, "Huh, I have someone that you guys seem like you would click." And then so we walked to the market a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
And then, we just ended up meeting through that and
Right.
started talking and hanging out and realizing wow, it's just, we have the same goals,
Right.
similar, kids, similar, just everything we're interested in.
Values,
And so, values, similar.
priorities.
Yeah.
How long ago was that
all
you
of
guys
that.
met?
A little over a year ago.
Really?
Yeah.
That's it? Oh man, that's awesome. Congrats.
So
I can see a lot of good stuff between you guys.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. So that takes me to the next question. When did this idea for the podcast, blog, social media thing with the topics you guys are talking about come about?
Yeah, it's really interesting that you talk, because the more you would meet, you and I met walking, and we start to talk, and you said, well, I'm mostly interested in the habits and the mental aspect. And that's what we had talked about. And then when, we read a lot, she's certified in nutrition and yoga and all of those things. And I'm in sex and relationships. And so as we start to talk to friends and other people that share this, our community and these same fears and same worries, start to realize there's some people don't understand, and some they're just looking for a community and a way to move these forward.
Right.
And it's just what we're interested in.
Right.
And so that's really, as we're talking, and when you start to talk to the people, sometimes they say, you would be really good at that.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, oh, you should do it. And I said, this, the same to you.
Right.
So we start to put that together. And I am a coach and been a coach for a long time. She's been an instructor and all that. So it just seemed to be a natural fit.
Right.
And
so have you guys taken first actions on it, or like where are we at?
We have a website.
What?
We have a blog that will go on the website that we're, writing, and we have everything ready, looking to turn the blog into books, and then looking to start with some community events, whether this would be just to start small, just at, her house with some women,
Right.
or, with guys, or if we do this mixed couple, and then really just see
Right.
what the response is and where that goes, what should be guided. If most people are like, we really want the couples coaching or one-on-one, that's what we're going to do. Still have the podcast and the blog.
Yeah.
But some we found, needing community events just to be in a room with couples, or room with men, or room with women, and talking about these things. So we're really going to,
there could be multiple offerings.
Yeah.
Like my wheels are turning now big time.
I was going to say, we'd already talked about, we've got to get this in your audience and all of that. And,
Right.
and we're just going to have the podcast and the blog and then the coaching available and see where it takes. But I think the community and event aspect is huge, and that could go a long way. And so
there's a big need in a lot of what you just touched on, and it's a matter of like, having some options, having some different avenues for helping people. But as we know, there's a lot of overlap in this stuff.
That's exactly right.
In a life.
Yeah.
Right. So life isn't just one thing. It's like 6 or 7 very important things, and then all the little things off of that. So,
that's right.
Yeah. Whew, this is awesome. I love what you guys are leaning toward. So if they're ready, at the very end, I would love to share either a website, a social handle, or even something preliminary.
Yeah.
Where we can send people to, or I'll mention it when it's all ready. I'll send that out in my newsletter. I'll mention it on the podcast.
That's going to be great. Yeah.
Beautiful. I love it. Yeah, I'm all for it. I'm pumped to see you guys take action on all that.
Yeah.
And if you ever want to have a conversation, like a brainstorming conversation or whatever, just ask me.
We had talked to, I was going to say, I think we will be working together in some format, you know, which will be good.
Amen.
Because like you said, it all just goes together. So yeah.
Amen. Beautiful. I love it. There's a lot of people that need help from people like us.
Yeah.
I believe God put me on this earth to do exactly that.
I love it.
I've been gifted with an early entry from childhood into this realm. And so that was my gift. That was my blessing. Now I get to bring that to people who might need it when they're 42 or 61 or whenever, right? And give it to them in a way that's receivable, doable, sustainable, gentle, and beneficial. And
that's right.
And you guys offer all that as well. I could just tell already in various aspects of one's life. You guys are needed. I love it.
We're excited.
All right. So this has been awesome. We covered a lot in a short amount of time. Are you ready for nominating a future guest? All right.
Yes.
Who's at least one person, maybe 2 or more?
Well, the one person is I'd love, and I look forward to interview Rosalind. She's going to be working with me, and obviously she's my partner. And so she has just her life experience alone, even some of the setbacks, through those. It's very powerful.
Yes.
And like you said, it's needed, someone to see who's gone through certain things and then now, just really thriving. And,
Okay, so I'm going to pause here. This is awesome. Like, so many people out there, all of us included, have had our challenges, our setbacks, our dark times, our challenging times, where we feel like, how am I ever going to find space to move forward, or the tools to move forward? Right? We've all been there.
Yeah.
Sometimes multiple times, right? And there are people out there who just wonder, has anybody else been in that place like me? And how did they get out of it? And if they did, that means maybe I can too.
That's right.
Right. And so, number one, thank you. And thank you if you're willing to share, like when you're on, you have no idea how many lives you're going to touch by sharing that story. Because there's a lot of them. And I've shared mine in various formats over the decades on the various types of things that I would be able to put it out there on. And I'll have people that'll reach out to us personally. Like, you have no idea what that blog post did for me, or that specific video did for me. I had no idea about that about you. And seeing where you are now versus that thing you went through that was so heavy and painful.
Yeah.
Like, I'm awake now. Like, I have hope and I'm taking action ASAP. So like, that's the blessing. Like, those tough, challenging, hard things we get through, if we're able to do it, that becomes the blessing that we get to take to other people that help them move forward and move on. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, it'll be really good.
Awesome. All right. Great nomination. Do you have anybody else you might want to nominate who could
we
be a potential?
talked about there's the body work, massage guy. He does a lot of the Jaguars now.
What's his name?
He was
First name?
Mike Malloy.
Oh yeah. Okay.
He was a Division I strength coach, and he played football, and then he kind of transferred out of that as well.
Right.
We talked about that same type of, workout and strength and all that. And now moving into, he's got to function and use his hands and body all day. And so, he's a pretty busy guy, and I haven't talked to him about it, but I always found it interesting to talk to him.
Yeah.
So
let's explore it.
And he's
let's put it out there. If he has the time, he sounds like the kind of person that could bring value and help to a lot of people. I'd love to have him on.
I think it'd be great. And then,
Awesome.
yeah.
Cool. All right, so let's turn the tables now. We're going to turn the tables. Russell is going to put the question on me, and I got to come up with the answer on the spot here.
Yeah. Well, and it's what we had talked about before. I'm a huge, advocate, and I pay attention to habits. And you had mentioned that you work with clients and on their process and on establishing habits in that. And so I'm just wondering if you talk about that, or how you focus on that.
Okay, so like if I'm working with a client,
or yourself,
So let's talk about working with a client, because whoever is watching right now, they'll be able to take something from that. And I had to do this personally. Like, I am able to teach it because I've had to do it personally. I'm a human being. I've had my downs. I've had my peaks and valleys. I've been out of shape. I've been overweight. I've been food codependent, flirting with alcohol problems, flirting. But it all made me very self-aware, not only of what I need to overcome to succeed, but the blessing in going through it myself was that I did this, I succeeded, I'm maintaining success. Now I get to teach that to the person who's in that dark, down, painful spot, the heavy spot. Right? So in coaching people, one of the main things we all need to do, as you guys probably know, is filter out all the distractions and the nonsense coming at us all the time. Right? So for the average person, that means all these different marketing messages for the weight loss, for the detox, for this meal, for that workout, for this procedure where you don't need to diet or exercise, all right? Like on and on and on. This is 24/7 now with these devices in people's hands.
That's right.
Right? So I'll have clients come to me and they're like, I'm so confused. Keto, paleo, HIIT programs, don't do that. Just come and get liposculpt, and you don't need to worry about anything. You can eat whatever you want and never exercise again. It's like, all right, well, we got a lot to work through here, right? So basically, it's being honest with them. Like, you just need to put a big filter up and stop even listening to all that. Like, it's your choice to listen to all that, and then if you're going to listen to that, you're going to experience what you've been experiencing for the last several years. Total confusion, starting something new every other week.
That's right. Spending $6,000 or $7,000 on this crazy procedure that didn't work. Right? And on and on and on. It's like, you got to just block it all out. And then the next thing is understanding that what you're trying to do is way simpler than you're making it out to be, or other people are trying to lead you to think it is. Right? So if you trust me on that, then I can start giving you the things you need to do today. And then we just keep building on that, while I remind you to keep ignoring everything that keeps coming at you. Because if you do what I teach you, you'll never have to be on a diet, because you shouldn't be. You'll learn what to do on a principles-based approach, where you not only can you do this at home, but when you go on vacation, when you go to a wedding event for the weekend, you go to an Airbnb, you're away on business. Your principles come with you wherever you go. That's right. And you live them out wherever you go. It doesn't matter where your body is geographically. You're still you. You still have your priorities. And in this day and age, you can still do everything I teach you no matter where you are. Right? And so once you get that in here, you start to reprogram your mind. Right? And so they start to absorb this. Once they start doing the basics, and a week passes, and they're like, oh, this has been the first week I've ever done anything consistently that feels good. And I feel like I've made progress in a week. I was like, all right, are we on to something now? They're like, yes, please. What's next? Right? We're going to do the same thing another week. Same exact thing. You don't have to change anything. I love that.
Right? So it turns into a month. It turns into 3 months. And before they know it, they're like, I feel awesome. I've dropped 8 pounds. I'm starting to see definition. And this is like from women in their late 50s, early 60s, guys in their 70s, or guys in their 50s who used to be a college athlete or high school athlete. Then they got into real life and forgot how to take care of themselves. And they got the big gut, man boobs. They feel like garbage. They're like, can I really get it back? Have them all refocus on the super simple, doable principles. That's right. Right? And I try to teach everybody to do it at home. Because if you could do it at home, that removes a huge barrier. If you can go to the gym, you want to go to the gym sometimes, fine. That'll work there too. And once we start doing that, and they realize, he got me to block out all the distractions. and I take my 45 minutes a day, and then I do a walk in the evening with hubby or wifey and the dogs. And here we are, and we're eating the things he told us to eat. They're all delicious. We're not on a diet. We're not zero carbing or carnivore meat all the time. Like, this is balance. This is balance. This is realistic. It's actually enjoyable. Right. And so when they start doing the things I'm trying to teach them, there's a compound effect. It's like in a few weeks, they're like, I trust this guy because it's working. Right. And I like it. We can do this. This is not crazy. I'm not going to a HIIT class and feeling like I got run over by a truck. Like, this stuff I can do. Right. So when we can do something, it's easy to keep doing.
That's right.
And when it's benefiting you and you're getting positive outcomes, naturally, they want to keep doing it because it's something they've been working toward their whole life. Right. For the people who've been trying, as we know, there's a huge percentage that has never tried. They're just living life, working on the couch, eat, start the whole cycle over again the next day. Right. No exercise, no mindfulness to the foods they're putting in their body. Right? But those people can be helped just the same. It's like just a matter of what's going to trigger it. Is a scare from the doctor and a bad number going to trigger it? Is an actual heart event going to trigger it? Like, we see those all the time. It's happening right now out there somewhere. A bunch of people are experiencing it. But when it happens, no matter what the circumstances, it's a matter of simplification. Give them everything that's doable, that works. And each day is more proof that they can do it, and that not only can they do it, but it actually works if you do it. Right. So that's really it. That's the short principle.
I love it.
Approach to getting into somebody's head to coach them properly and start making that paradigm mind shift.
I just love that. And we have the same one. And, I do this for my college class where I teach writing. I'm like, we're not going to start, I'm going to write a book or, this giant thing. Let's just start with the basics and get this baseline every day. Then you're not procrastinating. Then we're doing it. And then we do the same for fitness. It shouldn't feel like I'm on a diet and restricting, or this is so hard to work out, or this or that. You know what I mean? We're not that you can't have hard workouts, but we're building. I love what you say about principles and habits and all that. That's really, really good stuff.
Thank you. All right. So before we possibly share a social, this triggers a story. English professor, a lot of people, when I do write emails, I'll do like blog-based emails, or I'll do sometimes a blog post. I haven't done a really, really strong one in a while. I do more shorter ones now, like weekly summaries or whatever. But I've had them where people say, man, your writing is awesome. It's like I open an email and I don't even know I'm reading anymore. Like I just, it's like I read the whole thing. It's
That's
like,
great.
and I'm done feeling good. Like, how did you learn how to write? And I guess I'm self-taught, but anyway, I had this college professor, English professor. She was tough as nails, like tough, like kind of scary tough. We had this project. I wrote a paper, but I knew when I was writing it, I was taking like a very different approach to the assignment. Like, this is either going to work masterfully, or she's going to be like, what's wrong with you? Right. So she comes over to my desk and she's handing out the papers, and she's like, I need to tell you, I really enjoyed reading this. Well done.
Nice.
Like, man, I was like, all right, I'm on to something here. And so the way I did that is how I do most of my writing. Put it into words is very hard, but man, as an English professor, I know you can appreciate how the written word or spoken written word can impact somebody's life.
That's right.
I appreciate what you do.
Thank you. I love that story too, that you were influenced that way,
I knew I was onto something.
That's good.
And I appreciated her honesty. Like, I didn't think she would be so honest to give me the credit, tell me she enjoyed it, and like give me that boost that I took a right path, even though it was very different. That she even enjoyed reading it.
It's great that you took that risk, and that it's
take your risks, people. Don't be afraid.
That's right.
Good stuff. All right. So as we wrap up here, before we get either a website, social handle, whatever, as you're tuning in, whether you're listening or watching on YouTube, the podcast channel, leave us some comments. Do you guys have a name for like the properties yet? Like, do you have a name for the?
It's R&R Wellness.
Okay.
And the website is randr.com.
Okay.
And we would love to have questions, any questions.
All right. So I'm going to make sure I have all this properly, and I'm going to include this in either an email after this episode goes live and gets posted. But I want to make sure I get you guys the feedback and the support you need to like move forward and some more ideas. R&R Wellness. All right. So is there a social handle yet? And is there a podcast name or not yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
But
We could brainstorm that together.
I was going to say, we were talking.
It would be wonderful. And what would be great is if somebody does have a question, it can be about relationships, nutrition, sexual health, any question.
Okay.
We will address it on our podcast
Right.
together
Right.
as, if we need to do research, we'll do research, but it'll
Okay.
be something that we can address.
Okay. We'll go deeper on this on your episode.
Yeah.
Whether it's next week or the week after,
I
we'll
love
go
that.
deeper. And now that I know more, like I can ask more pertinent questions
That would be
to
great.
flesh this out and to get viewers involved too.
That's right. It would help us get started. If
Absolutely.
they're asking questions and then,
Yes.
okay, this is what they're interested in. And, then we can build that. So, yeah,
Awesome.
thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. So would you want, if anybody's going to go start searching, is the website the best place? And then we'll wait to share the social handles maybe on the next episode.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay. So randrwellness.com for now, but when Rosalind is on, we'll have time to think about more things and have more places for you to go check out, or at least be like first listeners in line for the podcast and the blog.
Yeah,
right.
That's right.
Very cool. All right, Russell, thank you so much.
Man,
I appreciate it. This has been
fun.
way better than I thought it would be. Not to like put you down or anything,
No.
but like I knew it was going to be good.
Yeah.
But this was really, really
It's
good,
good stuff. I
and much
enjoyed talking.
appreciated.
Yeah.
So that's it for this episode. As always, please leave your comments, leave your love. If you do listen to this on the audio, please hit the rate and review button on Apple. The reviews help. The ratings do help. It helps other people who need this kind of stuff more easily find it. But at minimum, please just leave us a comment in the comment section under the video on the YouTube channel. And until next time, peace and much love. We'll see you on the next episode.